I'm Jessica Shaw of Entertainment Weekly Radio, not trying to sell a book on Labradoodles, but so excited, shout out to EW, so excited to be here with the creator, producer, and cast of Younger. Let's bring them out. So Darren, I want to start with you. At the in the final moments of last season, it was like, boom, this whole world, you know, that Liza had created and worked so hard to keep secret, she decided to tell such a key person in her life this secret that she'd been keeping. What made you want to have her tell Kelsey at that point?
Well, first of all, is this on?
Flip it, you gotta flip the switch.
I was just saying, I think it was so exciting for us to see with an audience because we haven't seen this episode with a group of people.
Thank you so much. It's so great.
Yay!
Yeah, thanks for being a great audience. It was time for Liza to tell Kelsey, and part of it was because the way she had realized how badly she'd hurt Josh, and I think the only way she could find any redemption was to be truthful to Kelsey at that moment, right after that. I think it was just like this knee-jerk reaction, like I just can't keep doing this to people that I love.
How about in the writer's room? Was it like, all right, let's do this. Let's get this, because it really feels like season 4, just from as we saw the very first episode, it just opens up a whole new world of possibilities of different loyalties, of different people working together.
Yeah, and it feels like it doesn't feel like we go deeper with everyone this season, and it was time for Kelsey to know. And I think Sutton felt that way, I think Hillary felt that way, it was time.
All right, let's talk about the final second of this episode. What, Nico?
Dun, dun, dun.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Dish,
I mean,
because
look,
that door closes and we were all like,
What's gonna happen in there? I think both of our hearts really have been broken by Liza, you know? So it makes sense that these two characters find each other because they have nobody else that they can talk to about this, you know? Yeah, that door closed, so. Ooh.
What could two incredibly good-looking people do behind a closed door?
I will say, though, when I read that episode, it was incredibly powerful, but seeing it visually and everything that leads up to it is crazy, dude. It's nuts.
And it was also really uncomfortable on set when Hillary and Sutton were at odds, because they're always like this, and it was like I don't know, it was like, you know, it was like the kid when your parents are fighting, you know, you're like, oh God, I don't want this to happen. So it was we were all very happy when further along in the season they possibly. When it got even worse.
We're not going to talk at all for the rest of the season.
I have something important to say, and it's that the writers did an amazing job with not letting Liza off the hook in terms of Kelsey forgiving Liza. It takes a long time, and I don't even know that forgiveness is, you know, something else happens, but it's like Liza is in a dark place for a while there.
well, yeah, I wanted to ask her. I thought that was, I jotted down what she said. She said, I don't think I can ever forgive you. You broke my heart. And that was, I mean, that is like, you feel like women friends, like you feel that to your soul, like to your very bones. And that was such a sad moment. And you know, when you wrote that line and when you wrote that scene between them, I kind of thought, okay, she's going to be upset and then it's going to bounce back immediately. But you're going there with them.
Yeah, I think we always talked about the fact that the end of the episode would have this real sort of like, you know, gut punch at the end, and that Hillary, as you know, as Kelsey, as a character, is really, she's a strong girl, and I think you find out more about her character this season and her backstory a little bit, and I feel like she has a lot of strength and a lot of toughness, and she is basically now playing for herself with Liza.
And I think
Darren pitched that.
Just quickly, that Liza has real consequences, I think, is also essential in terms of this. My understanding of Liza as a character grew a lot because of this season.
All the characters really in
I
this
think all the
season,
characters do too, I agree.
But sorry, go.
No, I was gonna say, but when Darren pitched that in the room, he's like, and then she says, you know, you broke my heart, and we all were like, oh.
I just want to say again how much fun it was to watch this with you. Yeah. It's because we get together and it's like we bake this cake and then we send it off, but we never get to watch people eat the cake. And we got to watch you eat the cake.
I did.
And it was so nice.
Now I'm really hungry.
And and we're a lot of we're also theater people where people experience the story as you tell it.
So cool.
And that's a very special thing. And it was just it was such a nice thing to do with you. So thank you for being here, really. Great. Just great.
Will you guys come over and watch every episode with me? I'll make popcorn. It'll be tight. I live in New York, so it's small.
I mean, it's a kind of, Miriam, depends on what jewelry you're wearing, because that was another...
If I wear that necklace, there has to be like 10 fewer people.
Watching
necklace.
that, so the second you're on screen and there's like the reveal of the necklace, and you could hear everyone...
A gasp. Yeah, everything I was wearing has gone down a runway. Available for purchase. For a lot of money.
Have you pocketed anything from the set?
I don't have pockets big enough. Like, you need like a moving van just to wear one of my necklaces in. It's pretty amazing though. Like, it's like a feast of jewelry that they bring in. Like, they'll bring in something amazing for me to wear. And I mean, like, I'm a schlump in my real life. I get whatever's on the floor. That's my style.
Come on, this is real
someone
life.
else did that. I didn't do that. But please. But to be able to like wear something so amazing and then they just bring in these trays of like delectables that you're like, what? Someone made that for real for someone to wear?
But I also think that it also speaks to the power and dimension of the character you've made.
No, that was literally armor. Like, that was like a breastplate going in as a warrior princess going into battle. But that's work.
But somebody else, it would be just that would just, the jewelry would be the comedy, and the character would be lost. And I think it says something about Diana's strength, that it's actually that is. That size jewelry is the right size. It's just right. Anything smaller would disappear.
For my acting?
It's the right size.
Saying I'm an overactor? Is that a compliment? It's a compliment. Team Charles.
You guys mentioned that it is a year of change, not just for Liza, but for all of your characters. And I was wondering if you could just kind of go down and say what you think your character's journey, or what we can give us a little tease of something beyond episode 1 for this season.
Oh God. It just. I mean, I think I said at the beginning of 2 and 3, and I will say again now at the beginning of 4, that it just gets very, very complicated. And the depth of complication, I think the thing that's beautiful about it is that it is born out of something that is already planted within the season. It's not just a writer's room saying like, it would be fun to throw into the mix. Let's throw this new thing into the sauce. It's something that grows out of the life that we know Charles to have, and it gets a bit complicated, and beautifully so, and in a very real way. And that is about all I'll say, because I feel like I'm dancing in this little circle, and everything around here is like danger zone, danger zone, danger zone. So I'm not gonna step out. But yeah, it gets complicated.
Likewise for Lauren. I mean, in a slightly different way.
Yes.
But there's some unexpected twists and turns for Lauren. She explores maybe her sexuality, and she's still like a wild and crazy loyal friend. But there's a great moment towards the end of the season where she needs Kelsey in a way that is so sweet, and it's just very dear. I'm very excited for you all to see it.
And Lauren and Charles get together, but
right. So we end up dating, and we're engaged by the end of the season. So
that's a couple that makes total
spoiler
sense.
alerts. Yeah, it makes a lot. We're the same height, so it works. It's like perfect.
I think we get to see how Josh is really gonna heal this wound that's left by Liza, and I think he starts to navigate what his relationships with other people look like, and just how he can be the best partner to somebody else,
There's also a big crazy thing that happens.
Dancing around that circle.
I'm just dancing in that circle, girl, in my light.
Stay
I'm
away,
dancing.
stay away.
Stay away.
There's a
Darren
few
Star
crazy
is
things.
I will just say that there is.
This is when Dad jumps in. That's when the principal jumps in, right? He's like, kids.
I know. You looked
No,
over and I was like, shit.
No, I'm just going to say that I feel like more happens of consequence in season 4 than almost all the seasons of Younger put together.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is a really like blockbuster season in terms of all the characters. There's a lot of just kind of like growth and surprises that are in store for all the characters, and I think that you guys, the cast, is just so terrific. And I think the wonderful thing about, we can write it, but it's like these guys have to perform it and they have to bring it to life. And it's like every time we write something, they make it so much better than we hoped. So we're just so proud of the season. So thank you.
Good teamwork.
I also just want to say that the start of the season, Diana has what I would call the healthiest, happiest relationship on the show with her boyfriend. That she likes to point out a lot, that she has a boyfriend, Charles. Saying, which I love, but there's a moment in the season that I really love. See, yeah, I can't say anything.
Dance around it,
Guys,
girl.
talk to me after the
Dance.
show.
Darren has the best death glare.
Yeah, he just looks at you like with a smile, like
Try being
say
on the
it, you
receiving
die.
end of
Say it,
it.
you fall down an elevator shaft, season 5. No, but there's a moment that is sexy and I love, that was one of the most fun moments I've had, and thank you for that, guys, for writing it.
I will say, even without spoiling any plot lines, this season does seem to have given you guys an opportunity to have different cast members work in different pairings. And I think that, like we even saw in episode 1, and you got to see different people come together. And I've seen the first 3, and you see that more and more. Was that something that you were hoping to do?
Yeah, definitely. And I kind of feel like, when you're doing 12 episodes a season, as we sit in the writer's room, we do think about some ideas that don't get to make it into a particular season, and we're like, okay, well, we've got that for next season, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we used this season an idea we came up with in season 1 that we finally got to use it. It's with Debbie. Yeah. I don't think I can say it, but but yeah, yeah.
Couple ideas actually that have been around from season 1 and season 2.
Josh and
And we
Kelsey.
haven't. What?
Josh and Kelsey.
That was a big debate too. Like how
Laura,
far
Let's talk about that
Charles
debate. I'm
go. Yeah.
curious about that debate, because the second that happened, it was like, is that where we're headed?
Not necessarily. Right now they're roommates. I mean, it's us.
Yeah. Right.
Roommates never
Attractive
sleep
roommates.
But I said this to you earlier, Jessica. I think that one of the things that I think is really beautiful about this season is that it feels like not reward isn't the right word, but I think there's such a payoff for fans and for people who've watched, that they get to dive in deeper into these lives, right? So it's not a show that sort of finds what works and what interests people and sort of floats along at one level. It's we get to really dive into these lives, and just happy that you're all diving in with us. So.
Yeah, but also, like, how about, can just give a shout out to the writers for being so damn topical. Also, right? Like, they have created these characters, and you want to know what happens in their lives and how they connect with each other and how they disconnect and what's happening. But then you just drop in these moments that you're like, well, that's about something.
Well, I feel like, we just hit the zeitgeist in terms of what is truth, the question of what is truth and what's the importance of truth and what's the value of truth. And so this past year, we just thought, well, that's what our show's about. What this entire country is like thinking about all the time is what the show's about. And so I feel like we wanted to kind of, point that out in a way without hitting over the head too hard at that. And then, by the way, Kristen Chenoweth was fantastic.
She's so great. I think I read an article with you a few months ago, Darren, where you were interviewed, and you said you kind of did want to acknowledge that this is, New York City post-elections, and just acknowledge that, but you did it in such a subtle, wonderful way that it spoke volumes without, kind of saying, like, laying out all the facts of what was going on.
Yeah, and a while ago, Miriam and Kristen and I did a show called GCB, Good Christian Bitches. And it was fun to have a little mini reunion on Younger. And when I called Kristen and said, I would love you to come in on the show and play a Kellyanne Conway-like character, she was like, yes, just tell me when, I'll do it. So,
let's talk more about guest stars this season.
Oh, can we? No, I got in trouble for this earlier.
Yeah, okay, who are...
Good. Well, Asif Mandvi, that's been out there.
Jennifer Westfeld's fabulous, is on the series this year.
As
a really wonderful
as a guest star.
Person. And
Asif Mandvi, by the way, I've been pitching him.
Asif Mandvi is fantastic on the show.
I just love him, and I was always like, well, he should be on the show, right?
Asif?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's terrific, and he's on a number of episodes this season. He has a big arc on the show.
Meredith Weasel from what is
Search
it?
Party.
Search Party.
Yeah.
She's great. Michael Urie is back.
Michael Urie,
perfect
of course,
Michael
is back.
Urie.
Wonderful.
I love Michael Urie.
Lois Smith, fabulous actress, is on the series.
Wait, Willow Smith?
Lois Smith.
Oh, I was like,
Lois Smith.
girl, she's on our show?
Lois Smith. Lisa
similar.
Reiner from Orange is the
They're
New
very
Black.
If you look at their IMDb pages, they're almost identical.
I love that you found a way to incorporate all these guest stars when you have, even with like all the new things going on with your core cast, and then you have bringing all these other people in.
Right. I mean, there's always, I think that first of all, it's a show about books. It's author-driven. We have, so we're always thinking of books and writers, and I think that's, so we're always thinking about who's going to play these sort of like these writers and iconic writers that we're sort of doing stories about. And I think one thing about the show that I think we all love is the fact that it is about books that are still really relevant, and it's a culture that's alive, and it's a business that's thriving, but we try to like look at it in a realistic way.
And shout out to Hemingway.
Shout out to Hemingway.
Episode. Yeah. Peter, I thought that was such a sad moment when Charles says to Liza that they were victims of unsynchronized passion. That was such a heartbreak of a.
That's actually true, I would love to pretend that I knew that when I read it. Like, yeah, that said that. But Darren's actually the one who said that's in fact a real quote. And you have we were going to do. Can I do retroactive spoilers?
Sure. Yeah.
So we were actually going to do a Hemingway storyline in Cuba last year because of Hemingway's presence there, and then that didn't happen because Zika happened in Cuba, and then it was going to be Puerto Rico for Cuba, then it was going to be Miami for Cuba, and then we ended up in Montauk. And that's another thing that got tabled from season 3 and moved to season 4. But to your point, it's so fun. I love reading, I love literature, and and for a lot of us who are book people, to get to say these things and to have a show where the spectrum of humor is, at one end of the spectrum of humor will always be truffle butter, so it's the spectrum of humor is truffle butter, talk Hemingway and Marlene Dietrich, and that covers a lot of ground, and it's so fun to play.
And just, it was a beautifully written line. Molly, I want to ask you about what your favorite Lauren-ism is. There's one coming up. I'm not going to ruin the context of how it's said or who it's said about, but just the term doppelbanger is my new favorite thing.
Yeah. I'm very lucky that I get to play this person. I mean, the writers are my angels because it's so fun to play a character who says just the darndest things. and they're all like very catchphrase worthy. I think my favorite, Doppelbanger is pretty good. I don't even know that I can pick a favorite because there's something new every week. I plead the fifth, I don't know. She's so creative.
I have to look up most of what you say.
I have to look up, honestly, I have to look up a lot of what I say too, because I'm not like a totally hip millennial, but I do my best.
So you play one on TV?
I play one on TV.
There you go.
I do.
Well, I was gonna just say, you mentioned going to the cast almost went to Cuba. Do you want to say where Younger is headed by the end of season 4?
I can say it.
Yes.
We're going to Ireland for a very special reason.
A very special episode.
Yeah.
You remember the Brady Bunch went to Hawaii, so we're going to Ireland.
Is there like a
Welcome back to
tiki?
Brady Bunch.
They don't
There's a
know who the
spider.
Brady Bunch is. They don't know who that is. So, just remember,
What'd you
know
say?
your audience. I said they don't know who the Brady Bunch is. Know your audience.
I don't know what the Brady Bunch is.
Can you say anything else about this trip? Like perhaps who needed a passport, perhaps to go?
The people who went to Ireland.
Nobody needs a passport, but a passport does have one's age on it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I missed that. Willa Smith?
And I know you guys are still, we're going to get to audience questions in 1 second, my last question, but I know you're still finishing up this season, but you've already been picked up for 5.
That's thanks to you guys, actually. It's because you guys are people who watch it. So thank you.
So do you have in your minds, are they already, the ideas already percolating?
No.
He
I
always
have
says
so
that.
many ideas.
I hope
guys.
they are without. I hope you're right. I hope it is in your brain.
At one point, we had broken season 5
Oh,
already.
thank you. I hope so. But no, we're still filming season 4 right now. So, it's like, we really do, it's one season at a time.
At the same time, it is so nice to shoot a season knowing that there's a next one.
Yes.
Right? Because usually you find out at the 11th hour whether you're back on.
Yeah,
and
TV Land has been an amazing partner.
that
They're
way.
so supportive, and they are, I feel like we get to do the show we want to do, and they're just like, they're fans of ours, and it's just a really wonderful working relationship for all of us.
All right, I want to open it up to some audience questions. Wait till you have the mic to come over to you so everyone can hear you. Oh, am I bringing my mic? Okay, I'll do it. Sure. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, pick someone. Yeah, just go ahead.
Just go to hand it over.
Hi. A lot of the jokes on the show are like incredibly specific to both the publishing industry and to New York City. I'm thinking about the Roosevelt Island joke from last season. And I'm just
Transland?
wondering, do you ever worry if it's too specific that people who aren't in New York won't get it or aren't into publishing?
Do you guys feel like it's too specific?
I mean, I never worry about that. I always feel like, I think that specificity makes for better humor no matter what, And it's like, if you don't get it, you can say, wow, what's that joke about?
Hello. You talked a little bit about this, but the role fashion plays in this show, and I'm curious how that collaboration works between the writers and the costuming department and the props department, because it does seem to play a big role.
Well, you guys do write, specifically for Diana, fashion moments that are, because it's so important to her, for her image and how she projects herself as the boss lady at work. And you guys have written, I just filmed one last night at 3 a.m.
Right.
Before I flew here.
Miriam was filming until, what, 4 a.m. in New
No,
York?
3, we were done.
3 a.m. in New York
Fine,
last
and
night.
then
Just 3, come on.
Yeah.
For you guys.
Got 3 hours sleep, and look at her, come on.
So much makeup. No, but I mean, that's why I said earlier how much fun that is. But you do write it in there too. Like and we each have our own. It expresses each character differently, and
Well, it
putting
starts
it
with
on.
Pat Field and Jackie.
Jackie.
And then they have a relationship. Our wardrobe department has a relationship with you guys, with the actors.
With each actor, yeah.
But everything that we, so like in our fittings, everything is photographed and then usually sent directly to Darren and the producers, and so no look is approved unless they have the final say. Like I have a big crazy outfit coming up this week that is really nuts and involved, and we had to take a lot of pictures. Did you get those pictures, Darren?
I have not seen those pictures yet. But
I have.
no, but I feel like
You saw them?
Yes.
but we see the pictures
It's
that
a
you
crazy
guys are
outfit.
happy with,
Right.
when it comes down to it. I mean, I think Pat Field is brilliant. So I mean, she's a fantastic collaborator.
So is Jackie.
And Jackie, who works with Pat and is the main costume designer on the show. They're both terrific and creative. They understand the characters, and they love to make, we all love to make fashion part of the show in a fun way. There's certainly a humorous eye candy aspect to it.
Has there ever been an outfit that you were like, yeah, too far, Pat, too far?
Well, I had last season. Last season I wrote that Maggie is wearing a painting smock, and it was the episode where she's painting the naked women. And Pat comes in and she's like, oh, I have this wonderful 1940s nurse's costume that I want her to wear. And I was like, what? And it looked amazing. It looked amazing.
Well, I can
Right.
speak for Debbie and I. We both will come to work wearing our own clothes and be like, I think we're just going to wear this today.
Me too.
We do.
I think I stopped saying too far, Pat, after the first season of Sex and the City.
Wise move.
Yes, when I think I just basically got shut down, and so I feel like there's almost nothing that goes too far, because on some level it becomes like a conversation piece for everybody, the audience certainly.
I had the incredible experience of having a suit made for me this season. It was so fun. It was like, it was way, way, way out in Bushwick in Brooklyn in this like a totally nondescript building, and the guy's name is Marty Greenfield, and he's been there for unbelievable.
He gives you a drink, right?
Yeah, he's been there forever, and so the suit it gets its own end credit at the end of the show. So, it was just great.
So you get to keep that suit because
it only fits me.
Because who else is
Exactly right.
6'9"?
7'9".
It's amazing.
I'll be borrowing it.
I was just going to say, that's so lovely for you, because Charles is always just wearing the suits, although there's a turtleneck moment that I don't ever stop talking about. Because he's wearing it just so Nordic god looking with the eyes sparkling and just handsome.
She likes a turtleneck. It was.
I like a turtleneck on a man.
How have you not written that into the show somehow?
Hi, I'm Megan. My question it kind of relates to kind of like a flashback I had whenever Kelsey was looking for the apartments on the show, and you're looking at your budget and what's available, and you're like, Do any of you have stories about whenever you were up and coming and looking around for affordable apartments in big cities?
You should take this one.
I lived in a one-bedroom with 4 other people, and it was spacious. I would think it was like 450 square feet. But it was great. I was in New York City. I don't know. I feel like when you move to New York City, that's sort of a rite of passage for some of us.
I had bed bugs once in New York, which was the worst.
So I definitely, that feels like a real New York City moment, that idea of like how, there's a lot of times you see some shows about New York and you're like, no, that's not, come on, that's not my experience. So it was nice to have that experience.
My first year out of grad school, I lived in a 3-bedroom apartment that was maybe the size of this stage, and everyone had like significant others, and so it ended up being 6 people in a 3-bedroom apartment, and it was awful and tiny. And then when I was moving out of there, I was looking at apartments, and on my way up the stairs to enter the apartment, one of the stairs fell through. I was like, uh-oh, gotta go. Not for me, not for me.
No,
I have zero stamina for looking at apartments. It's just constitutionally not able to do it. So both times, I moved, and I also just stayed in the apartments because I don't like moving. And it was the first apartment that I looked at. Both horrific, roaches, everything. But I can't do it.
I stayed in an apartment that was tilted, so when you take a shower, you had to kick the water toward the drain when you were done.
That's funny.
That's good.
Home sweet home.
That's perfect New York.
That's so funny.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm 35 years old, and I feel like at every stage of my life, Darren, you have provided me with a television show that has shaped my life, and so that's A. B, in this age of social media, I'm just always curious. You guys have been on the air for 3 seasons. I feel like this season's going to be the one that kind of answers my question, but I'm curious what point you've kind of heard the loudest response from the audience, if there's been like a specific moment where people have responded the most intensely. And like I said, I feel like it's coming, actually, but up until now.
In terms of the response from social media, I feel like it's growing. I just feel like the show's always been growing. And I mean, the whole social media thing is just mind-blowing to me that you get this direct audience response, comments to your show the minute it airs. I mean, the cast is live tweeted, watch with, as the shows aired, answering questions and talking about it. And I feel like that's part of what has contributed to this sort of explosion of television right now, is that the audience has this direct interaction with the actors and the creators in a way that never existed before, and it makes it this sort of more immediate, interactive experience. And I think I've certainly experienced that on Younger. I think you guys have all experienced that on Younger.
I think people are freaking out that Josh and Kelsey may happen right now, just from that trailer. People are definitely moved.
And you guys must hear, I mean, Team Josh, Team Charles, like every 2 seconds, I imagine. Is that like a daily experience
I keep pushing Team Both. I keep pushing it. It feels so right. It feels feminist and right and good in every way.
I feel like we're hearing it less now than we were last season, though.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I always got it from
That's
really,
because you're not
really
on the air
angry.
yet.
I know it's gonna start. I get it from like really angry, cranky, Upper West Side ladies. They're like, I'm Team Charles, whack. Sorry, but you
Fair
get
way.
it from a younger set of persons. I think that maybe the teams are somewhat less polarized, and I think that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, I think the biggest heartbreak right now is the fact that Kelsey knows. I think it's hers. And I think the way that we treat friendships on the show as important, if not more important than relationships, is really just incredible.
And
I just want to say that one of the beauties of the writing again is that a show will launch and will put out a question or a number of questions, and maybe the question is, does she end up with Charles or does she end up with Josh? And that certainly is still a question. But I think the beauty of the writing is that new questions get introduced, and that's what keeps the show fresh.
that's exactly what I was going to say. It's a testament to the strength of the entire cast and of all of the writers of the show that is absolutely, that may be what brought some people into this, but that is, the show is so much bigger and so much greater and so much more meaningful and funny and wonderful than that one question. Right. So congratulations to all of you. Season 4, I wrote down what night it premieres. June 28th, TV Land. It's such a good season. Thank you so much.
Thank you.